Welcome to Card Market Catalyst, your go-to source for everything related to football card investing. Whether you're tracking the latest market trends or looking for the next big prospect, we've got you covered. If you enjoy the insights, make sure to hit that like button, subscribe to the show, and follow us for all our future episodes.
Welcome back to our explainer. Today, we're doing a definitive market analysis of Group J for the 2026 World Cup. Now, on the surface, a group with Argentina, Austria, Algeria, and Jordan might just seem like standard football fare. But from a card market and investment perspective, this is where two massive colliding narratives meet. We're going to contrast the established, legendary veterans playing their final tournament with the rising rookies stepping onto the global stage for the very first time. It is a totally fascinating dynamic, and we're going to break down exactly how you should approach it.
Okay, let's dive into this. Here is our roadmap. We'll quickly cover the group's market dynamics, the psychology behind the World Cup hype, our buy, hold, and sell classifications, and finally, a clear conclusion for your collection. First up, Group J's market dynamics. We've got Argentina, Austria, Algeria, and Jordan. To make smart moves in the hobby, we first need to understand what's actually likely to happen on the pitch, right? Sporting expectations are literally the foundation for our financial investment thesis. Looking at the probabilities here, it's pretty clear how the bookmakers view the hierarchy. Argentina is the overwhelming favorite, sitting at a massive 70 to 80% probability to win the group. I mean, anything else would be a total shock. But look right below them. Austria and Algeria are locked in a super tight battle for second place. Under Ralf Rangnick, Austria's tactical pressing gives them a slight mathematical edge, about 15 to 22%. Algeria is right on their heels, making their head-to-head matchup incredibly crucial. And then, we have Jordan. They are the clear outsider, sitting at under 5%, but they're making history just by being there. Moving on to the psychology of World Cup hype. It's all about emotion versus calculation. Before we start dropping specific names, we really need to talk about why World Cup tournaments do what they do to card prices. They generate massive, undeniable market impulses. And if you look closely, these impulses are driven almost entirely by collector psychology and narrative. It is the ultimate battle of emotion versus calculation. On the left, you've got the emotional urge. The whole Messi's Last Dance narrative creates this heavy, nostalgia-driven buying. Collectors just want a piece of history, even if they are buying at the absolute peak of the market. On the right, we have the calculated approach. This is your growth-driven investing, focusing on the rise of the next generation, specifically 18-year-old rookies about to get their very first taste of a global audience. The upside here is purely mathematical. All right, Section 3, our buy category where we focus on young talents, rookie potential, and that post-World Cup upside.
This brings us to the actionable strategy, right? Historically, a strong World Cup performance from a young prospect is absolute dynamite for their prices post-tournament. And that leads us to this standout statement from the analysis. Franco Mastantuono. He is, by far, the most exciting name of the group. For collectors, he is the absolute #1 target here, and the ultimate buy candidate.
Let's break down exactly why Mastantuono is such a priority. He's only 18 years old. You combine that extreme youth with his recent move to Real Madrid, and his visibility is just off the charts. You've got the massive collector fan base of Argentina combining with the sheer global buying power of Real Madrid fans. If he gets minutes and performs, this World Cup is going to be the catalyst for a worldwide breakthrough. His post-tournament upside is just astronomical. But hey, Mastantuono isn't the only guy on our radar. We have a highly exciting next tier of buy candidates with immense upside. Nico from Argentina and Ibrahim Maza from Algeria. Both of these guys represent the next generation of elite playmakers.
Nico benefits from those exact same powerful club associations as Mastantuono, specifically that Real Madrid collector base. But right now, he offers a much more affordable entry point. Technically, the kid is outstanding. And then there's Ibrahim Maza. Talk about a sleeper pick. If Algeria makes a deep run, maybe mirroring what they did back in 2014, Maza is the biggest winner. He has enormous potential to completely dominate the North African card market. His hobby profile could totally transform. Oh, and we definitely have to talk about Mousa Al-Tamari. Jordan qualifying is a massive Cinderella story. It's their first ever World Cup. Al-Tamari is the face of Jordanian football. For collectors, this creates a highly unique, hyper-focused niche market opportunity. If Jordan overachieves, say they steal points off Austria or Algeria, literally every single market impulse generated by that success is going to flow straight into Al-Tamari's cards. Section 4, our hold category, we're looking at the established midfield, prioritizing stability and limited fluctuations. Let's shift gears and take a more measured approach.
These are players who offer fantastic stability for your collection, but they lack that explosive, short-term growth potential we just saw with the rookies. And this brilliantly illustrates why established stars are solid long-term holds. Look at Julián Álvarez. He's already proven at the highest level. He benefits if Argentina goes far, but his market is pretty much baked in. Enzo Fernandez offers a very stable market. Maybe not a huge hype player right now, but a great long-term hold. And Alexis McAllister? The guy is simply world-class, even though his card market has historically underestimated what he does on the pitch. They are super safe, but you aren't buying them today expecting a quick 3x return. We're seeing the exact same trend with Austria's key players. David Alaba is a flat-out national legend. His legacy is totally secure. But because his market has matured over a long career, there's very little short-term upside left. Marcel Sabitzer is incredibly reliable, definitely a collector favorite in Austria. If they make the round of 16, his cards might see a slight boost, but again, these are stable holds, not explosive growth assets. All right, Section 5, Sell. Peak prices and legends. It's time to talk about taking profits and risk management. Okay, this is usually the toughest part for fans, knowing when to actually take profits. Managing risk is just as crucial as spotting breakouts. To do this rationally, we have to define hype risk. It's the point in a market cycle where emotional overvaluation completely chokes out any future financial upside. When you hit that point, the chance of a price correction goes way up. And listen, this is purely objective. It has absolutely nothing to do with personal bias against a player's real-world skills. It is entirely about protecting your investment portfolio. Which brings us to a really important number, 38. That is Lionel Messi's age during this tournament. Now, 38 might be the prime of life for us card collectors, but in football terms, it means his future hobby growth is mathematically limited by the reality of time. Look, from a pure market mechanics perspective, holding Messi cards right now carries incredibly high hype risk. His cards are already valued at an extremely high premium. This tournament is very likely his last major hype cycle. Because the prices are pretty much near the ceiling, the risk-reward ratio is super tight. If you're sitting on big profits from his older cards, he is an absolute prime candidate for realizing those gains. We can apply that exact same objective market logic to Riyad Mahrez and Marco Arnautovic. Mahrez is still a fantastic player for Algeria, but at 35, his age restricts any further market acceleration. Arnautovic is an undeniable legend in Austria, but from a purely collector standpoint, his market ceiling has already been hit. The financial upside just isn't there anymore. Finally, Section 6. Let's wrap this up with a conclusion for collectors, the top 5 of Group J. So what's the game plan? Group J is essentially a massive passing of the torch. Here is your clear, actionable recap across all categories based on our analysis. You want to be buying Franco Mastantuono, Nico and Ibrahim Maza to capitalize on that post-tournament youth upside. You want to hold established prime-age talents like Julián Álvarez, and objectively, you want to look at selling legends like Lionel Messi right into the peak of this final hype cycle to secure your profits. Which leaves us with one big, overarching question as you plan your collection. Does this tournament ultimately belong to the next generation? The data and the market trends definitely suggest it might just be the breakout stage for tomorrow's superstars. But as always, do your own research, check the numbers, and make the decisions that best fit your portfolio strategy. Thanks for hanging out with me for this explainer, and I'll see you next time.
Thanks for listening to Card Market Catalyst. If you enjoyed today's deep dive into football card investing, make sure to like and subscribe.